Good morning and welcome to what is a Monday morning here in Australia. I don't know what
Good
time it
morning
is.
and welcome.
Just pause that, mute that, and run that. Okay, so how are you, Marsh? What's on your mind today?
Oh, not much. We were talking before the stream about Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Tell me
that's
what you
true.
know about Bigfoot.
Well, look, the latest theory is that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being, which is why he's so elusive because he pops in and out of our dimension. Which is why we can't find bones of Bigfoot, Bigfoot's children, or anything like that.
Bigfoot's love sled.
Yeah, Mrs. Bigfoot, who loves to make scones. Um,
But we used to have. There used to be these series of. Um, they were my. They I love reading. I've always loved reading. But anyway, at the supermarket tabloid, just these supermarket tabloids that your mom would go to the supermarket. If you were on your, you'd always read the you'd always read the covers, and it's like Bat Boy. It was always Abraham Lincoln was a woman. And they really found the Garden of Eden. And Bigfoot, and it's like Bigfoot's love slave. I was married to Bigfoot, and it was great. And it's this broadsheet, and well, not a broadsheet, it's a tablet. But
what's that? The
anyway,
National Enquirer, is it?
well, there is. I don't really care. You had two of them. You had the National Enquirer. That was just like a gossip rant. That was You had the National Enquirer, and you had the Sun, and then you had, which I think was an offshoot of the UK Sun. But you had that, and then you had one called uh, World Weekly News, or the most trusted name in news. And they kind of did that before CNN did that, and it 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 was just this. It's sort of fun because like my mom always used to have it as a give it to me as a reward for good behavior. It's like if you are on your best behavior, you'll get the next issue of, and it was things like I said, like you know, um, just these really out the wall stuff, and it was said like it was true and stuff. And it's like Bigfoot, some lady was married to Bigfoot. One of my favorite ones was uh, they found Saddam Hussein. He was really a psyop, and they found him singing show tunes at the Sands Casino in Las Vegas in the '80s, and they they said, well, we're gonna you know go over here and start a war for oil, so we need to prop you up as the president of Iraq. But he's really just Bob singing show to some Bob singing show tunes. But they did Bigfoot a lot. The world's going to end on December 25th, 1992, and just and we know quite a few people like that in chat.
Well,
You
who
know,
who is well, there's a lot of chat. A lot of the evangelical Christians are very apocalyptic, and they might not
yeah.
know exactly when the world's going to end, but it's more than likely before the end of this year. So they're
Oh, it's
very,
always right around the corner.
yeah, it's right around the corner. And don't think that's just a metaphor. It's really, we are on the cusp of the apocalypse, and they have all these theories about the 1,000 year reign of Christ and all that sort of jazz. It's all very related to the book of Revelation, and
But it's all very fatalistic.
well, I don't know. They just say as long as we have faith in Jesus, then the ruby slippers will take me to heaven. It's
I,
not.
I used to kind of buy into that. I used to be an evangelical uh, fundamentalist, and I think that there is even a subset of evangelical Christianity that's sort of the world is 6,000 years old kind of deal, and any deviation, it's like any deviation from an exact what's dripping on the black and white pages is just
you know, that's not okay to believe. It's not okay to look at metaphor. It's not okay to, you're denying Christ, and it's like, well, hang on, don't we see any evidence from the fossil record that suggests that there was a worldwide flood in 6,000 years, and they'll just dismiss it and saying, well, the genealogies or whatever, and if you don't accept the the 6,000 6 days, 24 hours, something like that, then you're denying throw the whole thing out. It's just baby out with the bathwater. You might as well just hang your hat and blow your brains out if you don't believe in literal flood myth. But
What about?
in terms of, go ahead.
Did you ever look into the cryptids in Minnesota? Has Minnesota got its own cryptids? I think I looked up one day, and there was a Minnesota Iceman, but I'm not sure what he is. Did you ever look into that?
I didn't. I know some Texas stuff, being originally from
Oh,
Texas in the
tell me about some
Southwest.
Texas cryptids then.
Well, there's this guy named the Chupacabra, right? And the Chupacabra is literally in Spanish, it means goat sucker.
Is Chupacabra the guy who we're not supposed to say his name?
No, that's the wendingo. That's in Wisconsin with the Ojibwe Indians.
Okay, go on.
But I'll get to that guy in a minute. But anyway, the Chupacabra is this sort of half alien. I'm not exactly sure what he is. There are like drawings of him. He's got like spikes and scales, blood dripping fangs, big red eyes, and they call him goat sucker. Chupacabra, that's Spanish. Chupa for suck, and then cabra for goat. There were some farmers, some ranchers in South Texas, in northern Mexico, New Mexico, Arizona, that kind of area, that saw some of their livestock with two puncture holes and the blood drained out of it, but the animal's intact. And they don't know, they don't, scientists, no one knows kind of what happens. So naturally, it's this alien-like hybrid creature. And they've got video of it running around. And you ever notice in any of these videos, whether it's aliens or the chupacabra or any of this stuff, Bigfoot, it's always grainy. It always looks like it's been shot through a camera that's been shot through a potato. With all the advent of smartphones and digital cameras and stuff, I mean, I can understand that like in the 70s and 80s when it's all grainy and stuff, but they've never got like a clear photo or a clear video of Bigfoot just going, hey guys, yeah, I'm Bigfoot. Nice to meet you. No worries. But yeah, and they think some scientists speculate that the chupacabra really, the video of it running around is probably just a mangy dog or something that looks like a chupacabra. But
well,
I don't know.
I guess a what's that disease? Rabies. Rabies infested dog might have red eyes and is
or mange.
hydrophobic.
Do you know what mange is?
The mange. I've got an idea that it affects the coat.
Mange is like a skin condition where it loses all its hair and it's got scaly skin, boils and stuff. So really, it's like a mongrel dog disease. It's pretty nasty, but
yeah, sounds yucky.
But anyway, so and there were some things recently where I didn't really get too much into it because they had about a blip on the news about it. About in Nevada they have these UFOs and somebody got to capture them. But then it didn't go anywhere. But Congress has had some high level talks about these unidentified aerial phenomena. But I don't know if they've come to any conclusions. I think I would be pretty embarrassed if I'm like, we're members of Congress. What the hell?
Yeah, I know.
What do we have in here?
It's a silly waste of time. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Project Blue Book and all that sort of jazz. I mean, come on, man. Why are we wasting our time on this nonsense?
It's like there's this congressman from Georgia. one of the things you and I have discussed is like ranking the most um like ridiculous or the most insane or the most, for lack of a better word, retarded member of Congress that exists. And there's this guy named Hank Johnson, and he's from Georgia. And, just sort of, he's interviewing this admiral. And when you go before Congress, I mean, you've got to kind of take it seriously. It's a hearing, whatever. And you've got this 4-star admiral with a bunch of ribbons and stars on his epaulets. And the guy's like, "Hey, we're worried." The Congressman Johnson's like, "Well, we're worried." And he goes, "Well, why are you worried, sir?" And he's like, "Well, if we put 3,000 more Marines on Guam, I'm worried that it's going to tip over and capsize." And the guy, he claims he was joking, but he had like a straight face. And why would you joke in the middle of
Yeah, why would you make yourself look like an idiot? Yeah.
But the admiral, he can't go. What the hell is your problem? He had to take it serious. Well, and he hesitates. He goes, "Admiral Mullen," and he was like, "Sir, we're not really anticipating that." Like he had to like take it seriously.
Yeah.
You're in a congressional hearing, and just so you've got these crazy people. Do you remember about a year or two ago when they had these in Mexico? They had these little figurines. Do you remember the figurines where they were like paper mache and they said they were aliens and they were like that
Oh,
big
yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah. I
box?
remember that. Yeah. That's great.
It is,
Yeah. And it was some university who came out with it too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, yeah, you got to believe us. We're, the best university in South America. It's like, well, yeah, but this is obviously horse hockey. Why are you doing this? And of course they investigated and they were paper mache, and it's like, well, all right. Anyway.
My thing is, like, there was a guy that got up there in the United States Congress, and he said, "Well, we've got all this tech and all this reverse engineering, and we're doing all this. Show me, wheel the bodies into Congress. Show me the photos, because it's kind of like I want to see it. Heck, if it's true, yeah, bring it on. I want to see what it looks like." But it's always we'll get back to you. We don't really blah blah blah. I mean, I'd like to see it. If there's something at Area 51, I want. Don't you? If there's something there, wouldn't you want to see a gigantic alien with a big head?
Look, if you can convince me that there's aliens, but in the meantime, don't waste Congress's time with it. I don't think.
I personally think it would be the biggest news story ever. Hey, we've really, they showed the tanks and they showed the flying planes or whatever. I mean, I want to see something like that. Um, but it always is. Well, it's kind of like it's kind of related. It's kind of like my Mormon friends, and they're good people. They're nice people, but it's like, hey, we've got these plates that came from heaven. Can I see the plates? Well, no, you can't. Well, why can't I see the plates? Well, God took them away. Well, why did God take them away? Well, he just thought humans really didn't have enough faith or time for that or whatever. It's like, but there are these plates, right?
Yeah, but the whole, as nice as Mormons might be, but the whole story of Joseph Smith is clearly a story of a swindler.
Yeah.
Oh, he was just, yeah. He's the one who said, yeah, I got the plates. Oh, let's see them. No, but I've got a testimony from my father-in-law to say there were plates. And it's like, well, at the time, there was always testimonies about...
The way supposedly the plates were written in ancient Egyptian or something, so he had to look through a top hat with these seer stones. I mean, it was all basically, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think he was smoking something or chewing some sort of plant out there because, well, can I see the plates? No, you just have to kind of take my word for it.
Yeah, I just don't know why people are Mormons. Like it's probably a good moral code to live by because, most Mormons that I meet in the street or do they go door knocking? I suppose they must. Yeah, because I
Yeah, they do go
remember
door knock.
they
But
door knocked
to me,
me earlier in the year. And
they're slightly less annoying than the Jehovah's Witnesses.
um, they knocked on my door earlier in the year, and we had a little chat. And they said, "Is there any chance of you converting?" And I said, "Not a snowflake's chance in hell." And they said, "What do you say?" And because they were Americans, they don't really grasp the Australian lingo. And I explained to
Who
them
say
that
that in America?
I'd explained to them that no, you haven't got a chance of converting me. And they decided not to waste their time trying. So okay, fine. But they were nice guys, but they said a lot of things that I would disagree with on biblical interpretation and things like that. They were just kind of, I guess, fundamentalist almost in their biblical interpretation.
Well, they've got a hell of an afterlife story, and that is, of all the afterlife stories, I mean, the 72 virgins have nothing on this story, right? In because it's like, well, God the Father was once, his name is Elohim, and he was once the son of another God who we don't know. And then he was born here on the planet. And essentially, um, when you die, if you're a good Mormon and this is the whole plural marriage thing, because if you basically die in the good graces of however you attain salvation in the Mormon faith, you will go and be the god of your own planet and have spirit babies with your wives. And, man, that sounds like a god on my own planet. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's
Yeah, but
just
wouldn't you be suspicious if you were Mrs. Joseph Smith? Then you'd be like, "Oh, you reckon God said you can have other wives? Did he?" Okay. It sounds like I don't know. He sat back and thought, I'll have extra wives, and I'll say God said I could. In fact, I'll say God said I must have extra wives. It's like, yeah, whatever. Share the love.
There used to this televangelist died recently. You've heard of Jimmy Swaggart, right?
Mm.
He died.
Sure.
He died recently, and his big thing in the '80s was he was a huge televangelist on TV, and he was known for being a strict moral, kind of like, hey, calling calling other people out for their sexual ethics who were prominent people. He kind of like helped ruin a couple of people, and he gets caught with a prostitute, and he comes on TV on his radio on his in front of the whole country. I have sinned. And he's crying and stuff. And like, I'm not.
How do you get caught with a prostitute?
I think he was driving. There was like a private investigator or something, cameras or something like that. I don't know. In and out of bars and in and out of hotels.
I mean, you have to be as stupid as Jerry Springer and write a check.
Right. That's what my mom said. My mom's originally from Cincinnati, and she said he came in the day of a riot to be the mayor of Cincinnati. He banged a hooker and he paid with her for the check, and he bounced.
And it bounced.
But he actually, that was part of his campaign was, hey, look, I'm a truth teller. I don't, at least we're honest, right? It's the whole thing. Well, I might have been alleged cheated on my wife and had these prostitutes and haven't checked them out, but I didn't lie to them. Which, okay, but that's really bottom of the barrel. That's scraping the barrel. It's like when people say, like, "Oh, it's better than nothing." Why do we have to settle for better than nothing?
Yeah, I know. It's sort of, I don't know. Look, these evangelicals. I mean, and I'm not trying to roast all evangelicals. I mean, obviously, Jimmy Swaggart was an exception. Like he was exceptionally flaky or just downright not a very good person. Hypocrisy, I
Well,
guess
I
is
think
the
for
word.
me, well, he did it, and then he said he's sorry, and he had all these crocodile tears. And then a year later, did it again, and he said, "Well, Jesus told me that I can do this, and you should all leave me alone about it."
Okay.
So,
I didn't realize Jesus had dropped in. Okay.
Jesus dropped
All
in.
right. Well, I'm not going to give him a hard time anymore.
Well, and there was a guy in Oklahoma named Oral Roberts, Oral, Oral Roberts, and there's a university down there, and he said, "Well, if I don't get $8 million by January 22nd, 1962, then God's going to take me home." And so people donated because he said if his followers didn't give him money, God's going to kill him, and then they're not going to have a minister. Look, it isn't so much that these guys have moral things. Of course, we all have moral things. I mean, if you stuck a camera in my face and followed me around, you're going to see some things that are not really conducive to a Christian life. And put it on national TV. It's not so much that it's to me, it's kind of the bilking the little grandmothers out of
Yeah.
their life
It's
savings.
bilking grannies.
They're like on TV, and I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get in trouble for innuendo or libel or anything or slander. But there are some out there, and they're prominent. And they make millions. They have like jets and stuff and mansions. The Pope doesn't even fly private.
No, Pope fly. Well, he usually leases a plane from Alitalia if he's going on a big trip, like to Australia or something, or to the US. I'd imagine he leases a plane from Alitalia, and off they go. He doesn't have his private jet. And if anyone
I could
needs a
understand
private,
if you did have his private jet.
I would understand as well, but he doesn't. But if you're Jimmy Swaggart in the back hills of Tennessee, then you need a private jet. It's like, come on, man. Do you really? I guess it's a demon tube, otherwise. You're stuck in a tube of demons.
That's what Kenneth Copeland once said.
God bless him. Okay.
And one guy, there's one guy in Fort Worth, Texas, named Mike Murdoch, and he's like, "Well, I paid $10 million cash for this jet," and it was basically like "F the haters, F the haters," because he said, "Don't be jealous of my blessing, clap for me," and it's like, come on, it's like on TV, it's like, "Don't be jealous."
Well, I don't know. Anyway, I despair when I see those. They come on at 2 o'clock in the morning. They used to anyway. I don't know. I don't have a TV anymore.
You have You have preachers like this in Australia.
Not so much. We get a lot of them from the US piped in. My favourite one, because he's got the best name ever, is Creflo A. Dollar. I don't know what he's like as a preacher, but he certainly has a great name, Creflo A. Dollar. Okay, man. I've never met a dollar. Have you ever met Mr. Dollar? Hi, hello. My name's Mr. Dollar. I've never met.
Well, you did say you grew up with the Foot family. You called them the Feet.
Sorry?
You said you lived by the Foot family. You called them the Feet.
Yeah, the feet next door. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
The Feet. Were they like, "Oh, that was funny" the first million times we heard it?
Well, there was more than 1 foot. There was 3 of them. 3 feet.
So just call them a yard. The Yard family. There were 3 feet.
They had this huge weeping willow in their backyard, which stretched over our desk, and then eventually they cut it down. I think we helped him cut it down. I can't quite remember.
Did he give the couple of homes there? Did he give the neighborhood a little character?
The weeping willow. It was more a nuisance. It used to drop a lot of leaf litter into our yard, and we'd have to scrape it up or something. But it was a massive tree. It was maybe 30 foot tall, 40 foot tall. It was just huge.
Yeah.
So tell me about, what's his name? Wendingo or something?
Yeah, not too for I do a lot of trolling online, as you know. Oh no, he doesn't trolling. So I was in this paranormal group, and they're talking about something called the wendingo. I guess it's like a skinwalker. I don't exactly know what that is. And I said, well, what's a wendingo? I said, well, don't say wendingo. I said, why can't you say wendingo? Because it'll get you.
If you say
So
Wendigo.
if I use the word if I say wendingo, the wendingo will get me. So I won't say you mean the wendingo? And eventually they kicked me. But it was for my own part. It was for my own reason.
What's he do? Like, does he leap out of the darkness?
I guess he eats. I don't know. And
he eats.
You want to look it up?
That's a bit gruesome.
I suppose. You want to look it up? Let's look it up.
Okay, let's see what the wendingo does. Hang on.
I got it. Wendingo.
Wendingo.
Wendingo is a mythological creature, or this is from Wikipedia, or evil spirit originating from Algonquin folklore. The concept of the Wendigo has been used in literature or other works of art, such as social commentary and horror fiction. The Wendigo is often said to be a malevolent spirit, sometimes depicted as a creature with human-like characteristics, who may possess human beings. It is said to cause its victims a feeling of insatiable hunger, the desire to eat other humans, and the propensity to commit murder. In some representations, the Wendigo is described as a giant humanoid with a heart of ice whose approach is signaled by the foul stench or sudden unseasonable chill. Well, wait a minute. Unseasonable chill. Well, it gets cold.
It gets cold. Unseasonable.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean,
hang on. What's unseasonable chill? It gets negative 30 degrees in the coldest part of the winter here. Oh yeah, it's cold. It must be the Wendigo.
No,
isn't it just as cold?
Especially in the middle of summer, when you walk outside and suddenly you feel a chill. And it's like, wow, it's a warm day. What's going on? And there you go. It's probably the Wendigo.
On January the 5th. Yeah. Doesn't it naturally get cold? It's like I met this guy in chat. He was just speaking of wacky things people believe. He was trying to convince me that God told him, he was trying to convince everybody that God really wanted us to know how significant the number 10 is in biblical numerology. And I said, well, how did you come to this conclusion? Well, God showed me. Okay, well, how? And he said, well, I woke up in a dark room and I opened my eyes, but I wasn't sleeping and it was dark. I saw nothing. And therefore, God proved to me through that sign that the number 10 meant something.
I don't know, man. I suppose.
Wake up in the middle of the night and you see nothing. But isn't that kind of what happens in a dark room?
All right, it's time to wrap it up, I think. We've talked about various topics, and it's goodbye from me and cheerio from him. Okay, see you later.